win it when we're on time. I really do. I gotta zoom in again. I moved some things around, and I got a halt because I was coughing. It's really annoying. Happy Tuesday, first day of the week for me, because I was off doing stuff and things, but I'm back. I'm here. Yeah, glad to be back. I missed y'all. I did. Not just saying that. What's going on? How was your weekend? Things I want to talk about. Things I want to know about. This is Ask a Traffic Cop. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, usually without candy in my mouth. Boy, that's annoying. I may just spit that out. I'll give it a few more minutes. Soothe. I need the soothing menthol or eucalyptus or whatever the heck it is that I'm... What does it say? Menthol extra strength. Yeah, meaningless like it's candy because it is candy. Okay. We're currently broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and the platform formerly known as Twitter, now referred to as X. And if you're there, we're talking to you. But if you're on X in particular, we can't actually hear you talk back. Don't talk back. Ask questions. This is a show for you, all about you. We're here to support you, to help you know new stuff and things about traffic law, traffic safety, and police stuff in general. There, I got to put the banner on. Come on, banner. There you go. Block my phone. I realize there's a phone in my picture. That looked weird. Lucas, good morning. How am I? I am doing well. How are you? Let's see who's in the chat. We got Randy McNaught. Good morning. Good Tuesday morning, Sean. Good morning. Good Tuesday morning to you, Randy. Bill Lazars or Lazars. Applause emoji. Good morning to you. Chase is in the house. Good morrow. Oh, that's a first. It's a first. Good morrow. I think it's a first. I don't think anyone's ever said that before, at least not on the stream. I would remember that. Greetings and salutations I'm used to, but I don't see those yet. Let's see. Stephen Bell, he is here with a hi, good morning, and welcome back. Thank you. Vandro is here, and he says, good morning, everyone. Your Brazilian fan is watching again, and he's not just a fan. He's doing research because he is... is it fair to say, Evandro, that you are taking content from this channel, translating into Portuguese, and then putting it back up on your channel, which is great. We want to be able to get information to everybody. Sorry, that's not how you pronounce it. It's Portuguese. I don't know. You have to teach me because now I want to learn. Okay, let's see here. Ryan Pinn will no doubt have an interesting question. How much over the limit if I have red and blue strobing underglow? Yes, Ryan Pinn, my friend from Nova Scotia, driving instructor extraordinaire, who asks the wild and wonderful questions to make people laugh, and I appreciate you. How much over the limit? If the red and blue strobing underglow, actually, you make a joke, but some police vehicles in the States have what looks like underglow, and it's low installation of side marker lights or strips that go across the bottom of the door. And those usually have all sorts of other lights that allow them to go above the speed limit. Let's see here. Good morning from the Grinch. Good morning from Zombie. How'd the tattoo go? Is it today that you're getting the tattoo, or is that yet the weekend? Did I miss it? Let me know. I want to know, because tattoos are happening for Zombie today, I think. Okay, and apparently I did pronounce it the second time, I guess, correctly. There we go. Kayla Draconis with greetings and salutations. Okay, very good. It's ongoing, so the tattoo is in progress. Okay, very good. Okay, let's start with Vision Zero, the enforcement team that makes magic on our roads. What do I mean by that? I mean what I mean. It's magic. What they're doing is changing driver behavior one ticket at a time, and it's sort of like magic. And if it works, it'll be magical. Now, what do I mean? They go out and give tickets. Those tickets influence change in behavior. If somebody is choosing to engage in illegal, unsafe, and otherwise prohibited behavior, stuff that we know leads to serious injury and death, they get tickets for it. Hopefully, they change their behavior going forward. So there we go. Speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving, those are the big four. That's what they focus on. And they do a good job at it. They really do. They hand out a gazillion tickets, not because they're hunting for low-hanging fruit, because there's a lot of people focused on those I'll point this way to make it point. There we go. Focused on those behaviors. And those behaviors are what are the most dangerous. That's why they focus on them. So they write thousands of tickets. People are just not respecting the law. It's absolutely wild. On my drive to work today, a couple of things. I'm in a rental car, which my kids love. It's a minivan. Never would have thought a minivan would be something that we'd say love in association with, but they seem to like it. It's different from the truck that we normally go in. And I watched the average fuel economy on the way to work was 4 liters per 100. 4 liters per 100 kilometers. Wow, I was locked in at 100 kilometers an hour on the 404 and at 90. Downhill 90, I think it went down to 3. But anyway, 90 on the DVP. And what I'm getting at is that is way better than my truck. So maybe I need to look at having a vehicle like this in the stable. I don't know. But as I was being passed by absolutely everybody on the road, I was thinking about what motivates somebody. And do we have to equate, or maybe it's accurate to equate bullies to speeders? Because I'm watching them ride up on people, try and push them out of the way, not physically, but they're getting in people's faces. They're tailgating. They're high beaming. Not me. I was in the right lane. They just sailed past me. But other people who were going a little bit faster than me, but still nowhere near the Mach speed of there are people who are going ridiculously over the speed limit. And I wish I could pull them over or tag them so that a satellite can send them a ticket in the mail. But the deal is that they are absolutely out of control, and they are bullies on the road. You wouldn't allow someone to bully you or bully your child or your sister or your cousin or your brother or your nephew. But everyone's bullying everybody else on the road. Who the speeders are bullying everybody else on the road. Anyway, I'm unimpressed. That's what I'm getting at. Okay, if you've got questions, we've got answers. Ask them in the comments. Of course, we will. Well, I see. I segued, and I never actually told you where the Vision Zero Enforcement team is today. The 3rd of October, they're in 23 Division and 43 Division, the neighborhoods of Rexdale, Jamestown, Martin Grove, Bendale, Woburn, Highland Creek, West Hill, Guildwood, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play. See, I usually talk about what they do, and then I got all into my whole thing about my drive to work. Anyway, we announce it every day. You should follow us on Traffic Services on Twitter, Traffic Services on Toronto on Instagram. We also post it on our Facebook page for Traffic Services Toronto Police. Check it out. You can find out where we're spending our time. It is really just to notify the people that are in the hashtags, the neighborhoods, that we're there, that we're focused on their neighborhoods, that we're spending time with them. It's a different place every day, and a lot of people were concerned that we were letting the bullies or the traffic offenders or agents of chaos, as Akela Draconis refers to them, as dubbed them. We're letting them know where they are. Ideally, people should know that we're out there enforcing the laws everywhere, and you shouldn't break the law anywhere. But what can we do? People still continue to break the law. They need to get caught. Okay, now that I've said that, I can continue with questions and stuff and things. Just know that we have M. Shap, moderator extraordinaire in the house. My wife is helping again because JD is sick. And if you ask questions, please ask only once. Do not spam. Thank you to Akela Draconis for the spam that I keep in the office to use as my visual prop. Please only ask once. We have people who just get in here and repeat themselves 25 times. And feel free to jump on everyone who spams. Let them know. Because they may not know. Maybe spam, it's bullying. Spamming is bullying in the chat room. I'm all against bullying of any kind. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. Apparently, with a lozenge in my mouth, I sound 30 years older. I do know what you mean. Okay. Let's see here. What is this comment from Michael? Okay. Apparently, I have to really click the button. No, that's not the best. I'll come back to that one. But there was things slide out of. There we go. Michael H. Something I said on a different live when Brazilian asked when to meet Sean. I got cut off at the end of the live, but Hyundai D. Okay. I'm totally out of context comment. Not following 100%, but we'll move on. Thanks, Michael. Have I ever seen Paw Patrol? I have children. I've lived Paw Patrol. We try and save the day in our own special way every day. Yeah, absolutely. Tim Shallow, good morning. That's an interesting question here from Ryan Pinn. This one's a serious question, I imagine. How would you recommend suggesting a four-way stop if we don't have the online reporting system like the TPS has? When you mean suggesting a four-way stop, like there is nothing in the community and you need to have a stop sign installed, that's talking to your local counselor. That's trying to make a change. Be the squeaky wheel. That's what I would do. Scrolling back. There's tons of comments here. Okay. My buddy JC says, go hybrid. Hybrid's an option. If I was going to actually look at the Chrysler Pacifica once upon a time at hybrid, and I know someone who has one, which is what spurred the conversation about them, because apparently they never use gas. Like they do the 70-kilometer range, and that's all they need to get to work. So they just don't burn gas. When not went in my last comment. Not sure what Michael was updating. Okay. 1 out of 2, the 2-part comment from Chase. My friend got his plates pulled for unsafe motor vehicle and also expired plates. He said the officer told him to go to the police station to get this resolved. What jurisdiction are they in? Let's see what the second half of the comment is. I thought he just brings a safety to the MTO. Is this usually just a plate fee of $50, or does he have to re-register the car? So, yeah, you reapply for license plates. The plates are returned to the Ministry of Transportation, who owns them. You have to reapply for plates, and whatever the cost is for applying for new plates is what you pay, along with the safety. That's my understanding. There should be no additional. If it was simply that, if you also got charged for unsafe motor vehicle, then there's a whole bunch of there's charges that will be he'll have to deal with. Okay. Tim Shallow wants to know about licenses and pleasure craft operator's license. Here's one. I don't think they're one of this. Well, they're not one and the same, and I don't think one would affect the other one, but I don't know for sure. This is the question: is if I had my driver's license suspended, would my pleasure craft operator's license be suspended? And I think I've been asked this question before, and I still don't know the answer, unfortunately. The deal is that when your driver's license is suspended, it's specific to the driver's license. I don't think any other license is affected. Some people ask about motorcycle license versus automobile license, and the truth is that's actually one license with designations that allow you to have different classes of vehicles. Let's see here. So I don't know I guess it would be the people at whoever issues the pleasure craft operator license. That's who we'd probably need to confirm it with. It's an interesting question. I do like it. Can someone with one eye drive a car? Yes. You have to meet the minimum vision requirements, but my understanding, having looked into this once upon a time, yes, you can actually drive with one eye. There are many people. You need to still meet the minimum vision requirements, but that can be done with one eye. Okay. Evandro wants to know when the next in-person event I'll be attending so I can meet in person. Good question. We're doing some stuff in schools, so that's not a good place. I will promote anything that I'm doing online. I will promote that. So if you follow me everywhere, I'll certainly be putting it on LinkedIn. So don't worry, you won't be left out. What is this? Police shows a minimum of 18. How often do you see applicants that are 18 to 21 being hired? A couple of years ago, I would have said never. I would have said the average person is about 31 years old getting on. And while the average may still be in that range, it's coming down. We're seeing more and more younger people or applicants being accepted. So that's a good thing. People are interested in the job younger. And we used to have our pick, and we'd pick people with a lot more life experience. And now there's fewer people, quite honestly, who want to do the job, that want to get up in the middle of the night, that want to not have keys to an executive bathroom. Our job is difficult. You're out in the hot, you're out in the cold, you're seeing people at their best, you're seeing people at their worst. It is not a job for everyone, and that's good, because we're getting people who see this as a calling as opposed to a way to pay the bills, and that's what we want. We want people who are really dedicated to service, to public service, to serving their communities, to risking, quite frankly, risking their lives to help other people. That's not something that's just a job. This is far from it. This is a whole different life. And we can argue that because some people say, no, it's just a job. No, it's not. It's the only job actually, soldiers and police officers are the only jobs you can sign up for where someone might try and kill you just because of the job you do. In fact, that happens. That happens too often. So it's not a job for everyone. Do it because you want to do it, not because you're bored. I will talk about employment stuff in a little bit, so stick around if you're interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service, whether it be as a police officer, parking enforcement officer, communications operator, or a slew of other positions that we are looking to fill, because we're always looking to fill positions with great people who want to serve their community. Ryan Pinn says, spam the spammer. Kind of, sort of, but not really. I don't want to spam anyone, but Good morning, Radek. How you doing? We've got questions. Do drivers have to be speeding in order to be charged with street racing? No. Street racing is so the charge is actually stunt driving, and stunt driving has about 15 different triggers that allow it to be late, and those are more often referred to, or the ones that are most popular are speeding. So if you do 40 kilometers over the posted speed limit when the speed limit is under 80 kilometers an hour, that's stunt driving. If you do 50 over in an area where the speed limit is 80 or above, or if you do if you go 150 anywhere, regardless of the speed limit, that's stunt driving. But it's also things like drifting, donuts, intentional loss of traction, marked departure, not being in the driver's seat, like ghost riding, or sitting in the passenger seat and playing goofy games instead of being in the driver's seat where you're supposed to be, driving with someone in the trunk. There's a ton of different ways to trigger those charges. So there you go. It's not all speeding, and it confuses people because people think that racing and also racing also is one of I think it's 15 different. Have I ever counted them? I don't think I've ever actually counted them. I think I get bored after 10 or 11, and I estimate it's 15. Can you? That's not the one I wanted it updated when I was pressing the button. Hang on. That happens way too frequently. Okay. Dash cam footage, we'll talk about that. Here we go. Start flagging things again. Can you take a photo of a driver on phone driving and send it to police? Would you be on your phone taking a photo while driving of the person driving? Because then you would also be eligible for a ticket. That's one where two wrongs don't make a right. You could call police, although that I think would be an inappropriate use of you would never get them. If you had time, date, location, vehicle, identifier and description, and driver, if you had a video or photo of the driver doing it, and all of that other stuff, we could actually lay a charge based on it. And you would just have to come to court to testify to the fact that that information was information you provided. So you'd be part of the party at that point, which probably nobody wants to do, but it would be an option. You could do that. We can act on evidence when it's complete. So there's a thing. But more often than not, we're finding that every other car has somebody on the phone. It's easy for us to go out and just catch them. And I remember reporting on days where we were doing blitzes and we were getting 80, 100 people a day on their phone. And it's not because we did it for as long as we were out, and it was still happening when we were gone. Different people were doing it. It is there. People just can't seem to take the phone, put the phone down. It's terrible. And then you see the people who drive around like this, and they're on hands free, and they have no idea why anyone's upset with them. I don't get it. I see people in Corvettes, fancy cars. Maybe they just don't know how to use the technology, because I have to believe that those cars have Bluetooth or CarPlay, and it's just lazy that doesn't. Anyway, it's not just people with fancy cars. It's people of all makes and models, cars of all makes and models, people of all makes and models, shapes and sizes, and people just don't seem to get it. That it's dangerous. Using your cell phone is dangerous, and it's illegal. Just saying. So that covers this question of, can the police lay charges? And yes, if it covers the required information. And sometimes we don't have all the information, but it starts a great conversation, and in either from an education perspective, or maybe it's one of those things where someone's just so out of control that it's worthy of investigation, and maybe we'll catch them because we're going to follow them to their house now and wait for them to do it again, because things like that happen. People who are engaged in a particular type of behavior tend to be habitual about it. In fact, some of them make podcasts and TikToks about it, and then they get caught. And then certain police forces put pictures up about catching them. And then we all snicker because that's real. All right. If you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service talking about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. The goal of this show, which is called Ask a Traffic Cop, is to give you the opportunity to ask a traffic cop. Guess what? I'm that traffic cop. People usually want to know, well, why are you inside instead of outside? Well, I'm here on social media because I have become a social media and media relations officer subsequent to a collision. I was a police motor officer, a motorcycle riding officer, and I was hit by a car, and that took me off the road. I have not been back on the road due to injury. I missed the road terribly, but I also would miss you guys if I went back to the road, so it's twofold. So I now give the advice and information to help you understand the laws and hopefully make you a safer and less ticketed driver. But, this information is not just for those who drive cars. It's for those who ride bicycles, people who walk, roll, whatever your means of transportation is. If you get around in and around streets and sidewalks, this show has information that can benefit you. But share it with anyone who's a new driver. Share it with anybody who thinks they're a good driver but isn't. Share it with everybody you know, because we are here to help. And we do it Monday to Friday, assuming I show up for work, which didn't happen yesterday. I had stuff and things to do in the family life. But I try and do this as every single day that I am here. And of course, my handle on social media is the VoiceOver Cop. And you can find me on all the platforms at VoiceOver Cop. You can go to trafficcop.ca, and you can also get me there. That's my link tree. Okay, let's see what we got. Some more questions that are flagged. Oh, a whole bunch of stuff came in. Wow, good stuff. Okay, wait. Let's just, okay. Is it bad? Okay, we're flagging. So question is it bad to drive with your not drive with your driver's license on you? If you have a DUI, can you cut grass on a riding mower? Interesting. What to do if turning lane is full? Okay. Do cops know fishing regulations? This cop does not. I got a ticket for illegal handicap parking. Okay, hang on a second. Flagging that one. Parking's a big thing. Any additional penalties if stunt driving is community safety zone? If I get a ticket on my personal vehicle, does it go on my CVOR? Excellent question. Can you guys chase bikes? People really want to know that. Why do you want to know that? Somebody considering running from the police? That's not legal. And what's the fine for driving solo in the HOV? Is it okay to talk on the phone hands-free? Motorized bicycle with pedal legal in Ontario or not? Let's talk about it. All right, let's get into it. Wait, flagging one more because I don't want to miss that one out. And we got one from Michael, and excellent. Okay, now I'm up to date with the flagging. 26 questions in the queue. And that was a killer responding. What happens to a Tesla if driving with no driver? What happens to a Tesla if driving? Well, where is there a Tesla driving with no driver? That's not legal in Ontario. There's no autonomous vehicles in Ontario. But wait, full self-drive, that's autonomous. No, it's not. It is beta software that requires the driver to be present and take over at any time. It requires the driver who is absolutely responsible for everything that happens with that car. In fact, the driver who activates self-driving or full self-drive and then decided to get out of the car, they're responsible. They're responsible, and they're stunt driving responsible. If you're talking about when it calls or summons it from a parking lot on private property, there is no charge for. Actually, could we do stunt driving? I don't know. I don't know if we could qualify for stunt driving. Not being in the driver's seat. That'd be an interesting one to argue. I'm not sure how that would go, but now I want to know. So we'll talk about it. At least I'll talk about it with my colleagues. But generally speaking, if you're in a Tesla and you pop out of the driver's seat, you're not in the driver's seat, and that's not driving. Okay. Cool. That was Michael was answering another question, so I had that one incorrectly flagged. What happens if driving below the speed limit? Okay. What happens if someone is driving below the speed limit on a single lane road? Well, if they're driving below the speed limit, they're driving lawfully. What's wrong with that? It's a single lane in either direction, I imagine. So if there's no law that says thou shall drive at the speed limit at all times, you don't have to do the speed limit. Now you can't drive, at 30 in a 70, or that would be ridiculous. 30 in a unless of course it's icy, snowy, dirty roads, some reason for safety. Generally speaking, that would be unnecessary slow driving. But if you were doing, 60 and a 70, is that illegal? No, it's perfectly legitimate to do. You don't have to like it, but that's why you can legally pass. So you can go up to 70 to get around the person because the speed limit is 70 in my scenario. But never can you go 71. That's not legal. That's speeding. And speeding is not okay. Here's a follow-up question. Doing 40 and a 50 and a 70. So again, 40 to 50 and a 70, that's not ideal. That could be unsafe. There'd have to be a reason for it, and it would have to be based on safety. It would have to be that it was safer to do that, not because your vehicle isn't capable of going faster. 40 or 50 and a 70, I would think, is unsafe. And in that two-lane road situation, you'd be interfering with traffic. So unnecessary slow driving could very well be an appropriate charge. But maybe you're looking for a street sign and you're about to turn right, and then it would be okay. So it all depends. What is this? Chat Chase is always on the case. Stephen Bella says that Chase is always on the case when it comes. So this is a Paw Patrol reference to our Chase. Chase in the chat. Got it. Compared to Europeans, why do Canadians have no road discipline and yet have lower speed limits? Because we let people have licenses that shouldn't have their licenses. Yeah, I said it. We have bad drivers. We really do. We've lowered the standards even lower. Europe has much higher standards, and that's why they have higher speeds to some degree. People follow the laws better in Europe, and the consequences are actually consequences there. Here we have sometimes consequences, and some things don't even. Yeah, I can go down a rabbit hole and be really frustrated with my day, and I'm not going to go there. But we have bad drivers, lots of them. We have some really good drivers, but the bad drivers are plentiful. Which is why we want to help them become better drivers. We adopt a driver. We're gonna teach someone how to drive. A person pulls out in front of a motorcycle, causing a motorcycle to swerve and crash. Is car at fault? So this is called being indirectly responsible for a collision, and yes, the car could be at fault. There are dash cams for motorcycles, by the way, and I surely hope that everyone gets one who rides a motorcycle or has some kind of recording device, as long as it's not mounted to your helmet, which would make the helmet not legal. But see, part of this depends. If someone cut off a motorcycle or a car or a bicycle and causes them to crash, that's being indirectly responsible. If someone is traveling at the speed of light and the person who's driving the car made every effort to make a safe turn, but because the person was doing twice the speed limit, they approached and had to swerve to avoid because they themselves were breaking the law, I would have a hard time charging anyone but the motorcyclist for speeding. So it really depends. But if all things were equal and that you're just talking about a lane change that was unsafe, that would make the car responsible, even if there was no physical contact. If you're talking about something with, again, someone flying, I would either jointly make them responsible because it could have been an unsafe move, and I would absolutely charge the rider if I could prove that they were at fault. And you know what the funny thing is? If they crashed and that landing strip looked like an alien crash landed, like there was dirt trails for a kilometer, and we have these wonderful recon people, and they measure these things and determine what the original speed was based on all the marks on the road, skids and so on. After drag testing the road, we would determine what the original speed was. And if they were doing 200 kilometers an hour in a 90, we're going to charge them. Okay. At very least, we're going to make them partially responsible if we can't put it all on them. Because, evidence is amazing. Okay, can you drive and smoke? I've seen a lot of people driving while smoking cigarettes. As long as you are not driving a commercial vehicle, like a company vehicle, because smoking in your workplace is actually a violation under the Smoke Free Ontario Act. So if you're in a company car and that's your workspace, then that has to be smoke-free. If you're driving in your personal vehicle, you can do it as long as there's nobody under the age of 16 in the motor vehicle, at which point you could also be charged for driving with someone under the age of 16 while consuming tobacco products. Not legal. And of course, if you're smoking anything that is wacky tobacco or illegal substance, that would be illegal regardless of who's in the car, and also be impaired driving eligible, depending on situation. Lots of depends. Did you get details from the ITS conference I telegrammed? Yes, you sent it to me. I have it. I was reading through it. Thank you. I appreciate it, Akela. We're going to go to a conference. Synchron. Oh, interesting. I take it you're a friend of Chase's. Possibly, maybe. Yesterday, Toronto police pulled me over on the DVP and charged me with unsafe vehicle and took plates. I had my doors off my Jeep, and he said if... What? He said that your Jeep doesn't pass safety without doors. He pulled you off the road for having your doors off? Yeah. Well, is that the only thing wrong with your vehicle? The doors were removed? The vehicle's designed to have the doors removed. Now, single side view mirror, you're allowed to have one mirror. So I feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to look at the actual evidence of the ticket and see what's going on there. That shouldn't be sufficient for unsafe motor vehicle. From my perspective, maybe they're aware of something I'm not. And certainly I would have been eligible while driving my Jeep with no doors when I was doing it, because that's how you drive a Jeep, at least properly, in my opinion. What to do if being tailgated and you need to stop or slow down for turn and can't change lanes? Let me say that again so I actually understand what I read. What do you do if you're being tailgated and you need to slow down or stop for slow down? Slow down gradually. These wonderful people who tailgate, they might hit you. It's a problem, but they can't make you drive for 10 kilometers because they're tailgating. Slow down gradually. They will pass you. They'll get the message. Don't hammer the brakes. That will cause a collision. Slow down gradually. Is it bad not to drive with your driver's license on you all the time? Yeah, because you're going to get a ticket for $110 when you're pulled over and you fail to surrender your license. Also, if you get involved in a motor vehicle collision and if you fail to surrender your license to the other parties involved, including witnesses, you will make sure that you are stuck at the side of the road waiting for police instead of just being able to exchange information and go to the collision reporting center. And it complicates things. And you're eligible, of course, for tickets. You have to surrender your license, ownership, and insurance upon demand of a police officer for reasonable inspection. That's a thing. It's the law. Thin White Line Interceptor. Ryan, I missed you earlier because he said, good morning, Sean. What is it? What is the fine for running an extended school bus stop sign? Do you mean that like a bus with flashing lights? Because the sign out or not doesn't make a difference, but it's $4.95? $4.90? I want to say it's $4.90. 6 demerit points? Yeah, it's a big deal. And it happens all day long. And the legislation's already been changed to allow for the fine to be laid by way of electronic enforcement. Now, Toronto doesn't have a lot of these, if any of them, installed, but other jurisdictions like Niagara has them, and I think it's brilliant. If you have a DUI, can you cut grass on a riding lawnmower? Interesting question. Your license is suspended, and you are not permitted to operate a motor vehicle. Is under the criminal code a riding mower is a motor vehicle? I want to defer to a higher power. I want to ask that question to someone else. See if there's any case law on that. Certainly, if you have because it doesn't require a license on private property. I mean, if you can't drive it on the road, that'd be a problem. I got to defer. I don't know. I'm sure I've been asked this before, and I'm sure I had an answer once upon a time. But I would err on the side of caution and not do it. But yeah, let's talk to Sergeant Campbell when he or if he becomes available today, and if not today, we'll talk about it tomorrow. What to do if the turning lane is full? Can I block the road and wait until it opens up? What do you mean? You can't block the road. So do you mean that where are you in the intersection? Are you before the intersection? You can't block lanes. Can you rephrase your question? Paint me a picture. I want to know what you're talking about. Do cops know fishing regulations? I was told that I can't carry a pocket knife, but I know I can. That's two separate things. What has pocket knife got to do with fishing regulations? So police, like the OPP, likely know fishing regulations because they deal with places where fishing occurs. I am a traffic guy who knows absolutely nothing about fishing regulations. I apologize. Somebody told me something about. Somebody told me that a accessible permit allows you to fish. I have no idea how that works, but it's an interesting thing. Maybe Chase will get on the case and figure it out. But yes, pocket knives are legal because they're tools. I carry a pocket knife. Pocket knives are not prohibited. Now, if you have a prohibited knife, like a gravity knife or a switchblade, that's prohibited, whether it's in your pocket or not. All right. I got a ticket for an illegal handicapped parking, but my placard was on the dashboard rather than hanging. I don't know what jurisdiction you are in because you've said hanging. In Ontario, we don't have hanging. We put them on our dashboard. So I don't know what the rules are in your jurisdiction where you are. But obviously, if you have one that was issued to you and it was just improperly displayed, you might be able to talk to the courts and explain yourself. Maybe have a first appearance to explain what you did, and maybe they'll choose to withdraw it. That's up to the courts. Once the ticket's been issued, it is outside of the realm of being able to undo it in most cases. There you go. Any additional penalties of stunt driving in a community safety zone? For most HTA stuff, it doubles them. I don't know. I don't think it does. It's an aggravating matter for court. It may impact the severity of where you land in the $2,000 to $10,000 fine range, but it's not a fixed price. Like you double the speeding fines or stop sign fines in a community safety zone. But this is not a stunt driving. Is a go to court and we tell you the story of what happened, and the JP determines what they're going to give you. So maybe because it's in a school zone, they decide to give you the 6 months in jail. Maybe they decide to give you the $10,000 and the 6 months in jail. It's up to them. If I get a ticket on my personal car, does it go on my CVOR? No, if you're not operating a commercial vehicle, it does not impact the other. They're not related. It's the vehicle you're operating. That's my understanding anyway. You have to be in the vehicle for us to mark it down. Do you guys chase bikes? A lot of people want to know this. We generally look into chases, and scrutinize them because we don't want to chase people. We don't want to put other lives at risk because the bozos who run are putting the general public at risk. And we'll get as much information as we can to avoid, chasing anyone because we can just go to your house and arrest you there. We don't need to chase you and then have you dump your bike and get hurt. So that's a big thing. We want to avoid that. Can we chase? If we have to chase, if there's life at risk, if there's going to be reasons to chase. And if there's reasons to justify it, I'm sure we will. Is it okay to talk on the phone hands-free? So again, let me do my modeling thing. This is not hands-free because the hand is not free. This is not hands-free. Yet people drive around like this all the time. Hands-free means a hands-free headset or built into the car. That's hands-free. And then, yes, you can. It's still distraction. It's just not an illegal one. But it's acknowledged that mentally being distracted is still distracted. Motorized bicycle with pedal, legal in Ontario or not? Do you mean gas-powered or motor, like electric motor? It really confuses the topic when people don't actually talk about that because there are e-bike laws that allow e-bikes that conform to the legislation to operate in Ontario. They cannot go faster than 32 kilometers. Sorry, let me rephrase. Not be capable of exceeding 32 kilometers an hour on a flat surface. They cannot have a motor that is more powerful than 500 watts. They cannot be more than 120 kilos. They must have functioning pedals, yada, yada, yada. If you're talking about a bike that has a strap-on, gas-powered power source, then that becomes a motorcycle. It's not an e-bike because there's an E in the e-bike that represents electric, and the legislation is clear. You must have an electric power source. So you put a gas engine on a motor on a bicycle, it becomes a motorbike, and that is not legal. And let me rephrase: mopeds, That's a moped, but it's not licensed for the road unless it's approved, appropriate braking systems, passes the certifications, gets a license plate, has insurance, and is ridden by a rider with a license. So motorized bicycle with pedal could be if it was actually approved for the road and met all the requirements. There you go. If you took, what is this? If you took your phone out and filmed someone driving recklessly and showed the police, would they likely turn around and try and charge you for being on the phone after the fact? I was just talking about that. Would they? They'd probably scold you for it, but they still wouldn't have the, you'd be telling them who you are, where you are. And it's possible. I wouldn't be that guy. I'd still tell you that I appreciate your efforts, but you are now breaking your, breaking the law to cover somebody else breaking the law. Dash camera would be the solution that I would suggest people. I couldn't see myself laying the charge, but I could certainly see myself warning somebody about how dangerous it was what they were doing. Dash cameras are magic. Get a dash camera, download, mine has Wi-Fi. I download my contents there. I just got a text message from someone from the Golden Helmets. Steve. I'll read that after. Okay. What is this? Michael does not approve of those people who do not take the time to read the manuals and learn how to connect their Bluetooth. Why are we seeing so many people riding motorcycles between lanes and shoulders? Can they be ticketed? Absolutely, they can be ticketed and should be ticketed because it is super duper illegal. What they're doing is careless driving. What they're doing could be considered stunt driving or even criminal dangerous driving, depending on the observations made by officers at the time. I'm also scrolling and reading more questions, by the way. It's absolutely illegal. Why are we seeing more of it? Because people don't seem to care or respect the law. At least many people don't. And people don't think they're going to get caught. And then sometimes they do. And sometimes they get really, really hurt. Even before they get caught, they just lose control of their motorcycles because they're not as good a rider as they think they are. Everyone thinks they're a good driver, a good rider. And then they usually find out that they were so wrong. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that anybody wants to put lives at risk by choosing to operate motor vehicles in an unsafe way. But what they're doing is absolutely unsafe. Buying a motorcycle doesn't give you a privilege to go and skip traffic. That's not what a motorcycle is. Some places allow it. We do not. Nowhere in Canada can you legally do lane splitting or anything of the nature. What is this? Drive motor. What is this? Chase says TIL. That there is a charge if anything affixed to the vehicle becomes detached. Call it drive motor vehicle part detached. Okay. Insecure load also could be, lots of options. Interesting. Disabled 60-year-old here. I recently put a seat on my e-scooter and was told it was illegal. If you are talking about an e-kick scooter, then yes, it's true. As soon as you put, well, first of all, e-scooters or e-kick scooters are prohibited in the city of Toronto. They're just simply not permitted here. You have to be in a jurisdiction that allows them. And we're not one of those jurisdictions. But anywhere in the province of Ontario, if you affix a seat to your stand-up e-kick scooter, it is now a motorcycle, and it is prohibited. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Okay. Oh, Stephen Bell. Okay, got some suggestions here. Are you allowed to have air fresheners from the rearview mirror? Why, if you're on the highway? Okay, we'll talk about this. HOV lanes. If you brake quickly for an animal, is that a brake check? I think that's where you're going with that. Four-way stop with school bus. We'll talk about that. How long do I have to wait if I pass for a DZ? Ostinator read. If you enter the intersection and make a left turn on green, okay, we'll talk about that. Are they bad drivers or drivers who behave badly? Ooh, there's both, and we'll come back to that. I lost my ticket. What should I do? Okay, we can give you some advice there. Oh, okay, we'll talk about that. I want to ask a question. Person don't want to talk to. Oh, okay, we'll talk about people who don't want to talk to the police. We'll talk about that. OPP was doing good work pulling people over in the diamond lane on with one person at Highway 410. I'll throw it on screen in the meantime. Yesterday, OPP was doing good work of pulling people in diamond lane with one person at Highway 410. I don't know if you're giving them a dig, saying that they only had one, or that they were legitimately doing good work. Any enforcement is good enforcement. Just showing that we're enforcing those rules really has an impact. People change the way they behave based on it. Can RCMP stop you for no reason? We're talking about in Ontario what the rules are. Okay. What is the fine for tinted taillights and headlights? Okay. Hey, it's Dr. Nick. What's going on? Okay, we'll talk about whatever you got written there. Okay. I have a picture of my driver's license, my phone. Is that acceptable? We'll talk about that. Oh, I'm trying to flag everything so we don't miss anybody. A lot of good questions coming in, by the way. Hey, if you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day. It's what I do, and unless I'm not here, because I do take days off now and again. But if you've got questions, we aim to answer them. At 11 o'clock, which is just under 15 minutes away, we will stop taking new questions, but I'll work to complete the list of questions because that's how I roll. Can I have a BAC question, blood alcohol content. When making a turn from a designated turn lane, are you still required to signal? We'll talk about that in a second. 18 to 65, what is that question there? Oh, everything just updated. Douglas Allen. Oh, okay. That's just an aside. So Douglas Allen says that it's true that under 18 and over 65 and anyone that qualifies for a handicap placard can fish without a license. That is brilliant, and I had no idea. And Chase is on the case and came back seconds after Douglas Allen saying that, yes, it can be used. That's fun, and regardless of residency. Interesting. Can you add white stickers to your tire? Interesting. What kind of white stickers? Now, why would you want to put stickers on your tire? I don't know. There's no law that I'm aware of. That shouldn't be on the tread pattern because that would be bad to have no tread. But I don't know where you're going at with this. Okay. What happened if I get pulled over? My driver's license is in the trunk. Okay, we'll talk about that. Are motorcycles allowed on the 407? You pay for it. You go there, but we'll talk more about it. Where to go? What if they say it's a 49cc engine? Oh, we're talking about bicycles. Okay. I can tell you while I'm still scrolling for new stuff that the displacement of the engine makes no difference as to whether or not it requires a license, ownership, and insurance. A motor vehicle is a motor vehicle, and that's it. So there's no exemption for them at all. I saw some, and I complain about it whenever I see it, but I've seen people no helmet on motorcycles, no plates on motorcycles. I see people who put e-bike plates on motorcycles thinking that that's an okay thing to do. It's not. $5,000 to $25,000 is the fine. 6 months to jail is an option for courts. You know, it's. I don't get it. People do really silly things. I accidentally hit the button. What are we going to do? This is like random thing. Does Service Ontario still issue handicap license plates? No, it's a permit. It's not a plate. It is a permit that you display in the window and that way you can take it with you to any vehicle. But they don't put plates on cars that are specific to accessibility. Okay. Guess I can unflag that one now. Am I allowed to carry firearms in my car? Okay, we can talk about that. What Toronto Police doing to prevent auto theft? This is a popular topic. And I'm almost caught up to flagging all the questions that I have to answer. So Austin wants to know how long do you have to wait for a DZ? I don't know. Maybe you took your test and you're waiting for it in the mail type thing. Why do you have to wait so long to take your G2? Okay. 12 months is that long? I didn't think that's that long. Do all police vehicles have automatic license plate scanners? Okay. More questions about driving between cars for motorcycles. Someone has one taillight. Okay, I think we're up to date. Are we up to date? Are motorcycles on 407? Okay, we can flag that one too. What happens if I get pulled over? We talked about it. Okay, I got them all flagged. I think we're up to date. Cyclist for running a red light. Ticketed for having my music too loud. Okay. 37 questions. Whew, it's a good day for questions. Quick thing that I will do before we get into this next thing. We got 9 minutes until I will take no new questions, but I want to briefly touch on, so I do not forget, to talk about employment. If you're looking to become a member of the Toronto Police Service, I have got information for you. If you go to www.tps.ca/careers, you can actually go and get all the information you've ever wanted to know and more about becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service. And on this page, you'll find out details about the different jobs that we post. And I always bring attention to civilian roles because you can't even see the mouse there. It's blinking a line. Police constable, it speaks for itself. Lateral hire, it's someone who's coming from another police service, already graduated or is a qualified police officer, just switching jurisdictions. Special constable, a little different. Civilian off duty, but special constable it basically has some police powers while working. Parking enforcement officer goes in and enforces parking rules, keeps our city moving. Communications operators are the people who answer the phone and dispatch police officers. They are an amazing asset. We could not do the work we do without them, and that's a heck of a job. But it's not for everybody. So read up on it if you're interested. Civilian roles. That's what I want to draw your attention to. I want to find out what they're currently hiring for. Senior systems analyst, communications operator, and Yippee. So really, the Yippee is a part-time position. They do pay. It's for youth in specific neighborhoods to get opportunities to come and learn about policing. Communications operator, I just talked about it. So we're currently taking position or applications. 74,140 to 97,405 is the range of pay, and they're taking applications now. Senior analyst, 110, call it 111,000 to 129,000. That looks like a good job. October 5th is the cutoff. If you qualify for these jobs, you should go and apply, because once the job posting is finished, it's closed, well, then your opportunity is gone until the next time that you want to hire somebody. Know somebody who wants to become a member of an amazing amazing service, and an amazing employer, and get a career with a great place to work. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but that's what I'm trying to say. Come join the job. Can I bypass a streetcar dropping passengers on the left if it's safe to do so? So streetcars are in the left lane, so you're going to drive into oncoming traffic. How about you just, whether you can or you can't, how about you just chill out? just wait. Not safe. Don't do unsafe things. Bad. I don't think it's specifically against the law. It's certainly against the law to cross past the doors. I think it would be unsafe, and I couldn't speak for all locations. If it was safe to pass one, could you pass one? I have to look in. Let's look at the book of knowledge here. See if there's anything that I can find that says pass a streetcar. I just envisioning this, passing this thing that has no visibility around it looks like an unsafe move to me. But let's see here. Streetcar. Under permit, approach, attach. It doesn't say anything about passing it, but it could very well be an unsafe move. Can a G1 driver drive with a drunk G driver with 4 years experience? I'm so glad you asked that. No, they can't. You have to have a sober G driver who has 4 years experience in the passenger seat. They have to have less than 0.05 BAC, which means they have to be legally capable of driving a motor vehicle in order to supervise you. Someone who is drunk is not doing their job as a supervisor. Thus, you cannot use them as a supervisor. Even though you might have the best of intentions, you can't do it. Cool. You'd be charged for a drive unaccompanied, as if they weren't even there. And then you get a 30-day license suspension. So that's not fun. Yeah. We talked about this already. A very late response to Big Jeff Fresh's good morning. It is no longer, well, it's still morning, but it's almost the end of the show. Is there a charge? We talked about that. Okay. You can do, Stephen Bell says you can do both. Talk to us and go back on the road and just talk to us from 10 to 11 and patrol from 11 till the end of your shift. If that, potentially, if I get back on the road in some capacity, I'd love to do that. It sounds great. But actually, I do a lot more than just talk to you for the hours. So in my current role, I don't know if I'd actually have time to be on the road, but I would love to do it, even if it was part-time. Okay. Are you allowed to have an air freshener hanging from your rear view mirror? You're not allowed to block your view. So technically speaking, no, you can't. because by putting that there, you could be obstructing the driver's view, and that is a charge. Are we running around looking for every air freshener offender? No, we're going to be reasonable about that. And I say reasonable because one air freshener swinging in the wind there, not a big deal. 50 of them, when someone's like, well, first of all, it's a great hint because we find a lot of drug dealers that way. They put lots and lots of air fresheners and then to mask the smell in the car, but really it looks ridiculous and it does obscure the vision because it's a mountain of them. So no, that would be a good ticket. Why, if you're on the highway during rush hour and no one lets you in and you get stuck on the HOV? Well, you could just wait. Like you don't get, if you're on the HOV and no one's letting you in, you got to use some patience and you have to be somewhat aggressive. People don't have to let you in, but they can't actively block. And we are all kind of using the shared space called the road, and it would really help if people were kind to one another. Just saying. There's no obligation to stop and let you in, but there is an obligation not to intentionally block you because that could be stunt driving. At bumping, you have to be somewhat aggressive. I don't want to give you conflicting information, but yeah, sometimes you got to sort of start moving, and eventually somebody makes space. But you have to be patient. You can't ever get stuck forever driving. You can't end up in Michigan because nobody lets you change lanes. It doesn't work. Slowing down is a good thing. Okay, if you brake quickly for an animal that runs onto the road and someone hits you from behind, who's at fault? Possibly both of you. You hit an animal. You choose to hit the animal instead of hitting or causing a collision. That is like driving 101. Moose, bad to hit moose. That moose hurts you a lot. But generally speaking, you sacrifice the animal to save human life. Yeah, you could be responsible for that. But the person who was following too close to you and didn't respond to your brake lights is also responsible. You get to share the responsibility. Isn't that fun? School bus stopped across from you. Are you allowed to turn left in front of a bus? Yes. Yes, you can. You can't pass the bus, but you can turn left in front of it. And they're not supposed to stop at an intersection and activate their lights anyway, so that's another issue. Austin Reed, we talked about the DZ thing. I have no idea how long it waits. If you enter the intersection to make a left turn on a green and it turns red while waiting, you have an obligation to clear the intersection at that point. But yeah, if you're stuck and you have no way to get out of the intersection, you're going to get charged, or at least you could get charged. But the fact that you're in the intersection, you're not, other than the obligation to exit it, it's really not a big deal. You should complete your turn when it's safe to do so. So the question earlier, the remark, it is a question. So we were talking about bad drivers and why we have so many of them here versus Europe. And Caleb poses the question: are they bad drivers or drivers that behave badly? And the truth is both. There's both. And if you're a driver who behaves badly, you're a bad driver. Like, you're still exhibiting behaviors that are unsafe. Thus, regardless if it's because of skill, lack of skill, or a lack of self-control, you're a bad driver because you're risking lives for whatever your motivation is. I lost my ticket. What should I do? So the answer to your question is contact the courts. They would have it filed, and you'd be able to get information from them. You have to go in person just to prove your identity. I'm a victim of a traffic offense, identity fraud. How do I clear my name? Well, that's an interesting discussion. Someone was posing as you. You got to what? I need more information. If someone said that your vehicle was at a certain place when it wasn't, is it possible that you have somebody who's copied your plate? You need to go to court. You need to talk to them. You could possibly file a report to the police, or maybe you should track who has your car when. It makes a big difference as to whether or not someone provided your name and information versus someone who may have possibly been caught by a camera. But I need to know more. But going to court and saying that is probably a good place to start. Okay. Hey, I want to ask a question. If a person don't want to talk, what is it? If a person don't want to talk to police, why do you guys get mad? Maybe we're offended that you don't want to talk to us. We're people too. I don't know what the context of your question is. I don't get mad when people don't want to talk to me. No one has to talk to me, unless I'm arresting them or then they probably want to talk to me. But no, you don't have to talk. Okay. Can an 18-wheeler, what is this? Can an 18-wheeler be in the left lane on the 401, either express or collectors? So I was always under the impression that that was not allowed. And then I had an officer who no longer works here, they retired, telling me that it's only if signs are present. And then I found some information in the Highway Traffic Act that suggests that commercial vehicles cannot be in the left lane ever. So I got some conflicting information, which is one of the wonderful things. It's 11 a.m., by the way, no new questions, but we'll still work on these old questions. Just letting you know, I got a message from Leo Wife. I'm sharing the information as it comes in. Hot off the presses. It's 11:02. So I've got some conflicting information. Obviously, I don't tend to see them in lane one, and the information that I have now suggests they should only be in the right lanes, not the rightmost lane, but the right lanes, not in the left, regardless of where it is. That's my understanding. So in other words, what I'm saying is the information I had before I was corrected was actually correct. Okay. What happens if I drive with a G1 alone? Okay. $110 fine for G1 drive unaccompanied. You would also, you'd be getting a 30-day suspension on your first conviction, 90-day on your second, kicked out of the driver's license program, the graduated program on your third, and then you would be, what's next? Then you would be, then the person who lent you the car or allowed you to drive in contravention of a condition would be eligible for an HTA offense or charge. If you took the vehicle without consent of the person who knows, of course, that you're not supposed to be driving it, you just took it, even though they said no, or because you never asked. That's take vehicle without consent. You're looking at criminal charges. So that's G1 alone. Oh yeah, and you're not insured because you're not a licensed driver. So you get into hot water and you're on your own. What's the fine for tinted taillights and headlights? $110 if you're if you cover or tint your headlights at all whatsoever, regardless if it has enough light, or you're not allowed to cover or tint at all your headlights. Taillights can be a little muddier because the requirements say discernible at 150 meters. I'm the one who determines whether or not, like if I'm pulling you over and I don't think they're meeting the grade, that's my judgment. I'm going to lay the charge based on that. You can prove how I was wrong, and that's going to be you to argue that, or your responsibility to argue that in court. $110 for that too. And potentially unsafe vehicle, which could be more. Can an RCMP stop you for no reason? So let me tell you what police can do in the province of Ontario. If RCMP are doing traffic stops, it's probably not Ontario. Just saying. The deal is that an Ontario police officer can stop you for any reason. The reasons for any reason are actually not any reason. It's the following. They can stop you outside of any traffic offense. They can stop you to ensure that you are sober, to check your sobriety. They can check your license status. They can check the status of your insurance. And they can check the safety and your vehicle to make sure it's safe. That's it. Aside from any other reason to stop you, those are always there. So I assume the RCMP would have similar, if not identical, stopping opportunities wherever they are working in the country of Canada, because they are a federal police agency. I would imagine they could. So Dr. Nick wants to know if you can use your phone while driving to call the non-emergency line. I saw someone crash and wanted to tell police I had dash cam footage but couldn't stay. So if it's something like that, then the law says for an emergency. If you're calling a non-emergency line, you're not calling for an emergency. Thus, it can wait till you're safe. Simple as that. It's great information to provide. If you're not doing it because it's emergent, then no, that's not a justification to call 911. Well, if you're saying it's not emergency, you're not calling 911, you even made the conscious decision to say non-emergency line, it's definitely not something that qualifies as an emergency. If you've got dash cam footage, call the local division afterwards, call traffic services or your OPP detachment or what have you, and make yourself known. And that's it. But yeah, don't do it while you're driving. I have a picture of my driver's license on the phone. Is it acceptable on both sides? No, you need the actual driver's license with you. It's great to have, and an officer might say, hey, I'm cool with it, but it's not. It doesn't meet the requirements of the law, and you could be charged because it doesn't meet the requirements of the law. You are required to have you are required to have a physical copy, the physical copy, to surrender to police. And why did I say blood alcohol? Because I was reading this while I was speaking. Can I still become a police officer if I got a novice driver with BAC above 0? You know what? If it's not recent, if it was something that happened years and years ago, I'm sure that could be overlooked or it could be explained away. But that's not a criminal charge. It's an HTA charge. So, yeah, you should be fine. Interesting question, though. I don't think anyone's asked me that before. Streetcar QN on opposite direction lane. Don't know what Sager's asking me. Oh, you're talking about passing the streetcar on the opposite direction lane. We already covered this. Okay, when making a turn from a designated turn-only lane, are you still required to signal? Yes. You must signal the change of direction or the movement of your vehicle because it can affect anybody else on the road. And you can't assume that the person, I don't know, like walking, riding, driving, knows what lane you're in. Maybe they're, can't. The answer is you have to signal. Do pedestrians have the right of way at uncontrolled and unmarked crossings? Pedestrians do not have the blanket right of way. I know that there is a belief, it is an inaccurate belief, that pedestrians always have the right of way, and they don't. And this is one of the reasons why they step out in front of traffic and are one of the causes of traffic congestion in major cities. They just do what they want. Walk into the middle of the road, hey, that's no. The deal is that pedestrians, when lawfully on the road, have right of way. So if they've entered the road lawfully, which means that whether they've stepped out with the light or they're crossing and they've already been there well in advance of you arriving, well, you can't hit them, and they would have the right of way to clear. But it gets muddy because they can't just walk out into traffic and everyone has to stop. That's not how it works, and that's what the right of way statement makes people believe. Okay, what happens if I get pulled over and my driver's license is in the trunk? You say, hello, officer. I know you need my driver's license, but it's stored in my trunk. Would you mind if I get out and get it? And that's how it works. It's so simple. In the States, there's other things that work. You really want to, you don't just get out and do it. That's what I'm getting at here. You're on the highway. You don't just get out. And maybe the officer says, hey, listen, I don't want you to get out. It's unsafe here. I'm going to look it up for you. And at that, if they're offering you that, well, they're not going to charge you for not having your driver's license. I'm not suggesting this is a way to get out tickets because I would still let you get out and get your stuff. So there you go. But that's the deal. You just make sure you wait and tell the officer everything that you want to do before you do it. So the question from my buddy David says, what if they say it's a 49cc engine? This is in relation to putting a modified an engine onto a bicycle. So if it's a 49cc or below situation, they put a small displacement engine on a bicycle. Is it legal? No, it's still a motor vehicle. There's nothing that says 49cc is legal. Now, other provinces have different rules. In Alberta, I believe it is legal at 49cc. And the manufacturers of these things will tell you, 49cc, it's totally legal. It's not totally legal. Not allowed to have it. E-bike is an e-bike. Those are the requirements. 49cc engine is a modified or homemade moped, if you will. It's not legal and requires everything. Akela wants to go fishing. I do have. You've got a spare rod. I have some fishing rods too. I haven't gone fishing in probably 40 years, but I'm open to doing that. Maybe we should have a Ask a Traffic fishing trip. Bring out some folks. Who knows? Are traffic control people in construction zones allowed to wave me through a stop sign without stopping? Douglas Allen, thank you for asking this question. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. No, they're not. They are not allowed to wave you through a traffic control signal or stop sign. They do it. I stop them. I talk to them about it. They say, well, I was told I'm allowed to do it. And I'm like, well, I'm a cop and you're not. And I'm telling you can't do it. And then they still do it. So I see them at intersections. They have no authority for that. Flag persons are flag persons. Stop or slow, and that's it. The signs that are in effect are still in effect. And now, obviously, just because, so you're in a stop sign situation, they're controlling traffic and they're waving you. Is a police officer going to give you a ticket for it? Well, no. But you're talking about letter of law. Their commands do not supersede that of the control device. Can I vape while driving? Are there any rules regarding this? Vaping and driving is not necessarily, vaping is just bad for you. Don't vape. But as long as it's nothing illegal in the vape juice and there's no one under the age of 16 and the vaping is not blocking your ability to see, that's the thing. People fog up their cars. Then I don't see any reason why you couldn't. Oh, and it's not a commercial motor vehicle. Am I allowed to carry my firearms in my car or carry firearms in my car? If you are a registered firearms owner in the province or in the country of Canada, in Canada, let's say country of Canada, well, first of all, you're subject to all the rules about transporting firearms. And you, as a legal firearms owner, should know what those are. We're not going to get into the deep dive about this. Okay, my wife is leaving. She is no longer moderating. We've used up all her available time. Thank you for the help. I appreciate it. And again, no new questions. We're going to run through until questions that came in up until 11 o'clock get answered, but then we're out of here. You're allowed to as a legal firearms owner, you can transport firearms in accordance with the law. Just leaving them there? No, you can't just have them hanging out in your car. What are Toronto Police doing to prevent auto thefts? They're on the rise. We don't prevent auto theft per se. We give suggestions for people to do certain things to make their vehicles less attractive to thieves. We try and catch the thieves, but we're not hanging out on your street to make sure no one steals your stuff. That's not how this works. We suggest that people do things like cover their VINs when they're parking in public to prevent thieves from copying or using their VIN to duplicate keys. We suggest Faraday bags or Faraday boxes to store their wireless keys so that they can't use relay theft techniques. And there's a host of other options. People using the club, we're talking 80s and 90s, they haven't been popular since then, but the club is an effective way to deter vehicle theft, or at least deter the criminals. Instead of going to your car, they might go to your neighbor's car. But there's no particular make or model that is safe from theft because bad guys and girls and people steal cars that nobody wants because they use them to steal other cars. And they enter they become cars that they just torch down the street after they steal another car. So it's a complicated situation. And we do work very hard to catch the bad people. But there are always a host of bad people waiting in the bushes to get the next opportunity. Where you get one off the road, somebody else says, "Hey, no one's stealing cars in this neighborhood. Guess they should apply for the job." It's terrible. People need to get jobs anyway. And I mean that crooks. Crooks need to stop being crooks. Proud people. Okay. Why do you have to wait so long to take the G2 test? I need a car for work. You may need a car for work, but you need to be a safe driver on the road. You need to be qualified to be a safe driver. As a G1, you need 8 to 12 months in order to take your G2. Simple as that. Your G1 is valid or is required. You are required to have your G1 for a minimum of 12 months unless you take a course, take a professional course, approved driving course, and you get it in 8 months. 8 months is not that long. It goes by in a blink. And I appreciate your need for a vehicle. I got my license the day, or at least I got my learner's permit the day I turned 16. If you are motivated and you do all the studying, you do all the stuff, you get your license. And I understand that people need things for lots of reasons. However, it is what it is. Do all police vehicles have automatic scanners for suspended license, insurance, etc.? It is coming. If it isn't on all of them yet, it will be in terms of the myriad or the list of things that they scan for. They scan for the plate and then pull up the appropriate hits. I don't know what they're currently going. They're going in stages as to the kind of information they report on. But it is awesome, and I look forward to the day when every single motor vehicle in our fleets have the ability to identify violators. Are motorcyclists allowed to drive in between cars when in traffic? They also drive on the shoulder. We talked about this earlier in the show. Not legal. It can be careless stunt or dangerous driving under the criminal code, depending on what the observations of the officer are. If someone has one taillight and I rear end them because I can't see them stopping, who's at fault? One taillight is legal. You don't have to have more than one. Obviously, more is better, but they are not more responsible because you drove into them. You are responsible for hitting them. Now, it might be an aggravating factor. We would note it in the file or in the report that they had only one taillight, but that's legal. You wouldn't give them a ticket for having one taillight because you only require technically one taillight. Motorcycles aren't free game for rear-ending. They have one taillight. They're like one tiny taillight over their one wheel in the back. Well, they have two wheels, but the one that you can see, you know what I'm saying. Are motorcycles allowed on the 407? Sure they are. They need a transponder or they need to be registered with the 407 so that they can be billed appropriately. If otherwise they get charged all sorts of money. With my motorcycle, I couldn't get it at the time. A transponder wasn't reasonable. They registered my plate. I never needed a transponder, and I got the transponder rate. I had the transponder at home, and I just kept paying my $1 a month. I think I need to. I'm selling my bike. I can get rid of my transponder that sits at home. How to report cyclists for running red lights and cutting off drivers if they have no plates? That's a very good question. I wish they all had plates for that very reason. There really isn't a way to within reason. Yeah, because description is about all you're going to get. I'd love to see a day when they're all plated or tagged, or I say they, I mean everybody. All vehicles. Can I get a ticket for having my music playing too loud? Yes, you can. It's called unnecessary noise. $110. It is not legal. Okay, these are the Grinch remembers the club commercials. Let's see here. Scrolling back to see if there's stuff that we missed. I'm just going back. Oh, okay. So Synchron says, you said if we get charged with tinted taillights, it's our job to argue in court, but isn't it your job to prove but beyond a reasonable doubt that we were guilty of the offense? You're conflating. So HTA, most offenses you need to require. It's absolute liability. We would present our information, and we would say that it was not efficient. And now you've got to say that it's reverse onus in that sense. Most charges under the HTA are in that situation. It's not for us to prove. We would provide our evidence and articulate why we laid the charge, and you would be in a situation to say why we were wrong. Let's see here. It's different than criminal. Have a safe day. Oh, Dr. Nick says, I think you've missed mine. We covered it. I guess you messaged this while we were in the other queue. What is this? Passing streetcar. Really? Michael says, passing a streetcar on the left is illegal except highway designated for one-way use or fire service. Cool. I couldn't find a charge for it, so I appreciate that, Michael. So the streetcar situation says it's illegal, which is good. I say it's a bad idea anyway, but the fact that it's actually written in law somewhere is fantastic. I've never seen it done. What are the laws for operating a snowmobile in the winter? Good question. I have no idea. Tell you the truth, I'm not a snowmobile guy. When we have Sergeant Campbell here, that would be awesome. He will answer those things. What is this? What are the charge on having a plate flyer device? What is a plate flyer device? Yeah, I don't know what you're asking. Do you mean like something that covers a plate? Like I don't know what that. Ask. You'll have to come back another day because we're not going to wait for you to ask again. Let's see here. Driving with my scary G1 daughter with heavy foot. Who pays for the speeding fine if I get caught? If she gets caught, she gets the ticket. But if you're supervising her, what are you doing? How is she allowed to get over the speed limit with you, not telling her, pull over, I'm taking over because you're not listening? That's the conversation that a supervisor who's being responsible should do. Is you should be taking control and saying, no, if you can't manage to stay under the speed limit, you're not driving anymore, because I'm assuming it's not her car, it's yours. So yeah, you need to be a little louder when it comes to supervising. Who has the right way, but definitely her ticket, not yours. Who has the right of way at a two-way stop? Person turning left, stopped first, or person going straight? First to arrive is first to drive. What is Ahsoka's finale is tonight? Tuesday night finale? Really? Okay, I know what I'm doing tonight. Over dinner. Is it illegal to spray paint on the back windshield black? No, it's not. You don't need a rear window. That's not me asking it. Let me ask it without the title. You do not need a rear window. Think about panel vans. You do, however, need to have clear view to the rear of your vehicle by way of a mirror. And I suppose with video cameras now, because we have video camera enabled vehicles, too, clear view to the rear. If it's not your window, the rear of your mirror, it must be the side mirrors or equivalent. And we are up to date, which means I get to read some jokes. We're going to do some dad jokes. Hope everyone's ready for some dad jokes. And did I already answer this question? Unnecessary noise. $110 for playing your music too loud? Yeah, you can get charged for that. Okay, now. September 22nd. Did I read this one? How do Dragons get ready for a baseball game? They get all fired up. How could I be so far behind on these jokes? September 23rd, 24th. I need help digging a hole. The last guy ditched me. And what does a cloud do when it gets an itch? It finds the nearest skyscraper? That's terrible. Now that I've reflected on it, cleaning mirrors is a job that I can really see myself doing in the future. This is terrible. I can't wait for this calendar to be over. The 26th. My parents screamed when they saw my report card. There was a B on it. I'm not even pressing the button. These stink. 27th. Why do you think the teacher's eyes were crossed? She couldn't control her pupils. One good one-ish. It wasn't even that good, but the bar is so low right now. Okay. I can't afford the new gaming system everyone has, and it's getting me down. No one knows how to console me. Yeah. These are really... Maybe next year's will be better? Or is there a limit? Like maybe there's just no more dad jokes in the world. Dad, I'm cold. Go stand in a corner. It's 90 degrees. That stinks too. I mean, it's certainly a dad joke. And dad jokes are supposed to stink, right? They're not supposed to be good. What do we have here? Usually Zombie has some really good dad jokes. And yes, Chase, everybody knows or should know. And we'll be talking more about it as we do our winter driving ramp up stuff, content. We'll talk all about the new laws. Did you hear about the donut maker retiring? He was fed up with the whole business. Didn't deserve that. Sundays are always a little sad, but the day before is a sadder day. It's a sad, yeah. October 2nd, we're really catching up here. Why was the robot couple's anniversary in the fall? They were autumn mated. And we're up to date now. Someone tried selling me a coffin today, but it's the last thing I need. I'll buy that. That one. I didn't laugh, but yeah, I'll still take it. Okay. With that, I say goodbye. We are back tomorrow, 10 o'clock. We'll do it again. It's Wednesday, maybe. Okay. Check out VoiceOver Cop on Twitter. I'll announce tomorrow's showtime. The reason I say oh yeah, I need to take a course on how to drink water again. Went down the wrong side. I got to reach out to Jerry Agar and find out if we're going to do a show tomorrow. Yeah. I am going to reach out to Jerry Agar and his team to find out if we're doing one tomorrow. I cannot speak. Yeah, that's what we'll do. This whole water thing, terrible. Dad joke from Radek. I forgot to read it. Why did the computer go to traffic school? It had too many crashes. That's actually pretty good. What is this? Evan says, I used to have a job at a calendar factory, but I got fired because I took a couple of days off. I've heard that one. It's a good one. The Grinch. Dad joke. Did you hear that laughing too loudly is illegal in Hawaii? They only permit aloha. They only permit aloha, not laughing out loud. Aloha. It's good. I screwed it up, but it was good. This is after the 70s and 90 degrees is too hot. And I just took. All right. With that, I say goodbye. Here is the traffic song while I try and remember how to breathe and speak. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Drive sober. Don't park illegally. It's not fun.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk. that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
And as per usual, I usually say goodbye and then I say hello again. And I'm saying hello again because Tommy lost their wallet, Tommy Nguyen. And he's got to take his G2 test, but he has a picture of it, not the actual license. What is he to do? You need to go to the MTO. You need to go to the Service Ontario. Go and tell them that you lost your license, and you should probably do a police report. If you just misplaced it in your house, you can simply get a temporary one. They'll send you a new one in the mail, but the temporary green card is sufficient for taking your G2. So that is going to help you a whole lot. I want to make sure that you get your G2 and continue on this road to success. But if you show up with a photo, they're not going to accept it. That will not work. So there you go. Somebody wants to know about war. I talk about traffic. All right. Thank you for the thank you, and I appreciate that, Tommy. Good luck on your test, by the way. I'm sure you'll do well. See you tomorrow at either 10 o'clock or 10:30, and that's going to depend entirely on Jerry Agar. Probably 10 o'clock, but check it out by going to Voice Over Cop. Follow me there on Twitter. I always put up I almost always put up the notifications when I book it the night before. But then again, if you're on my Instagram, Instagram doesn't notify. Okay, if you're on my YouTube, by going to Traffic Services, actually go to trafficservices.askatrafficcop. Sorry, I'm lying to you. Too many domain names. I got youtube.trafficcop.ca will take you to the YouTube. If you go to trafficcop.ca, it takes you to the page with all of the socials. Go follow me everywhere. That's what we should do. All right, I am out of here. For real this time. Have a great day.